What is up, YouTube? Back with another YouTube video, and today I have a guide on how to complete the Concealed Void Master Lost Sector. Now to find this, you want to go to your Destinations tab and then go over to Europa over here on the left. And then when you spawn in, we're going to go either to Eventide Ruins up here, or you can spawn in at Karen's Crossing down here. Wherever you decide to spawn, all you have to do is make your way to the Astrian Abyss over here and make your way to the Concealed Void. So I'm going to spawn over here in Eventide Ruins, and I'm just going to take out my hoverboard and make my way down here. All you have to do is follow the snow trail here, and it'll take you straight to where you have to go, so don't even worry about getting lost. But you can see from the gameplay, I'm just going to follow it, and it's going to lead me into this new part of the map. And then we're going to go ahead and go over the modifiers and everything when we talk about the lost sector. So you can see we're going to keep going this way. And then right here, you're going to notice some Vex enemies. Make your way up here, and you can just drop inside this cave. And then when you drop right here, you can see the flag for the Concealed Void. And then if I open my map right here, you can see the icon. Now if you don't see the icon or the map, icon or the flag I should say, wow, I'm so tired recording this, but make your way in here if you don't see any of those two. And then go ahead and drop into this little frozen cave, and you can see in here you're going to enter the Concealed Void, and then here you're going to have a bunch of red health bar enemies. Go ahead and deal with those enemies, deal with the boss, kill the boss, the chest at the end, and you will unlock Legend and Master difficulty for this lost sector. So I'm going to make my way back up here, and then we're going to go ahead and go over the modifiers that are present. So you can see as I go back up here, we have for Master difficulty, we got shielded foes. You can face combats with solar and void shields. Master modifiers, extra champions, locked loadout, extra shields, limited revives, barrier and overload champions, solar threat, a 25% increase in incoming solar damage, arachno, when defeated, fallen vandals spawn a web mine at their feet. Then we have chaff, radar is disabled, and then we have overcharged weapons. Stasis Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing stasis damage, and then Solar Surge, 25% bonus to outgoing solar damage, and then Overcharged Trace Rifle, 25% bonus to trace rifle damage. Then here you can see the rewards. Enhancement cores are uncommon, if completed solo legendary weapons are common, and if completed solo exotic leg armor is common. Now you can see recommended power is 1840, but I'm 1828, and we end up doing this just fine. So let's go ahead and get into the loadout. So the loadout I use for this is Solar subclass, Golden Gun Marksman with Gambler's Dodge, Triple Jump, Knife Trick, and Healing Grenades. For the aspects, you have On Your Mark and Knock 'em Down. And for the fragments, you have Ember of Ashes, Ember of Char, Ember of Solace, Ember of Torches, and Ember of Eruption. Now for the primary weapon, I ran a Riptide. This can be used to stun Overload champions, and there is a lot of Overload champions. And what I highly recommend is just using Overload Rocket Launcher and then saving your heavy ammo for the Overload champions. But also, just in case if you run out of ammo for your Overload champions, you can also have Riptide if you do have it in order to stun them. For Overload champions, Stasis Slow effects is what stuns them. And if you have something like Choke Clip, this is a surefire way to stun them. Sometimes you can get lucky, and with the first shot, you stun them, and then you can, do damage with whatever you want. But Choke Clip, direct hits with the top half of the magazine cause detonation to slows nearby targets. So you can see we're guaranteed to slow. The only thing is we have to get direct hits with the top half of the magazine. So sometimes if an Overload champion is right in front of you, that's obviously not the most ideal situation. But if you have some range in between you and the champion, you have no problem proccing that and then getting some damage off. But that's why I recommend having a Riptide. Now for Polaris Lance here in the secondary slot, basically going to use this for our barrier champions and generate orbs. So we get our super back and everything like that. I do have the catalyst complete, so Dragonfly is on it, so that's going to help with the little AoE effects and everything that we got going on here. To be Radiant for this is going to allow us to break barrier shields, and to be Radiant, all we really have to do is hit crits or get rapid solar weapon kills with Flint Striker. As you can see, rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows grant Radiant. And then also another way to get Radiant is with our Ember of Torches over here fragment, and it says powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. So you can see we don't have to even get a kill. All we have to do is throw our melee. As long as it hits an enemy, we'll get Radiant, and then we can use that to break barrier shields as long as we have Radiant. And then the thing with this build is you can keep refreshing Radiant as long as you're hitting more crits or if you're hitting more melees at the same time. But I find it's easiest just to hit the crits. That way you can refill it sometimes. It does get a little finicky sometimes because let's say it's a barrier servitor and you hit 2 crits and then he brings the bubble out, and instead of getting that 3rd crit fast enough, sometimes you miss it, or sometimes you just don't even have enough time to do it. Then you just gotta wait, let him get his health back up, and then do it again. So sometimes it's more effective than it is for other times. But yeah, I just recommend Polar Stance. I enjoy using it. It's just sometimes it can get a little annoying. Just know that. But for the heavy weapon, Apex Predator, this is what I'm using here. And it doesn't have to be Apex Predator in particular. It can be any solar rocket launcher. I just recommend it be solar or stasis in this example because stasis and solar are the active surges and do increased damage. So try to have one of those. That way you can stun overload champions as well as taking advantage of damage buffs. Now for the armor, Celestial Nighthawk exotic helmet. And then we have 2 solar siphon mods and a hands-on mod. Now just to show you, these are 2 harmonic siphon mods, just so I can point that out. If you try to put 2 solar siphon mods, you can't because of the energy requirement, and I rather just use harmonic siphon because you still get the same mod. It's just at a less energy cost because instead of using 3, we're using 1, and it's giving us the same benefits. So that's why I have 2 harmonic siphons and then a hands-on mod right there. Just make sure you make note of that if you're going to use the build. Now for the arms, solar loader and heavy-handed. For the chest piece, 2 solar damage resistant mods and charged up. And then for the legs, we have stacks on stacks and 2 kinetic weapon surge mods. And then for the cloak, 2 bomber mods and a time dilation mod. Now for the artifact, feel free to pause it right here if you just want to copy it. But the first row doesn't really matter as long as you're just making sure if you're using any of these as stun champions, you equip it. But for the second row, make sure you have Kindling Trigger and Blast Radius. And then from Whence You Came is not useful because there's no Taken or Scorn enemies here, so we're not going to do increased ability damage to anything, so feel free to skip on that one. Flint Striker, like I said, I recommend that one. And Wishing to Being, I recommend. Heart of the Flame is not useful because we're not playing with allies here, we're playing solo, so we're not going to give anybody Radiant when we cast our super, so again, just ignore this one. And then Overload Rocket Launchers, obviously for Overload champions. And then Rays of Precision and Solo Operative I do recommend. So as long as you have those there that I said I recommend, and you kind of skip out on From Whence You Came and Heart of the Flame, then you should have no problem getting this done. So let's go ahead and get into the gameplay.